What's up guys? In this video I'm gonna go over something new which I think a lot of you are gonna like. I went over parameter input in another video of mine. So in this video I'm gonna go over another very popular way to take input in Java. And remember that one of the problems of parameter input that I had discussed were that you can't it's not feasible to input, let's say, 100 variables using the parameters. Though it's possible, it's not feasible, it's not viable to do that. So in this video what I'm gonna go over is I'm gonna go over something called buffered reader, which many people find a bit daunting at first, but I'll try my best to explain it to you. So now a buffered reader is predefined in Java. It's a class that has already been written in the Java language, like system.out.println. BufferedReader has also already been written in Java. So, well, now in BufferedReader, what you need to do is it's part of a package in Java called the IO package. Now, the IO stands for input output, if any of you are wondering. So, in BufferedReader, let's say you you wanted to use BufferedReader in your program. So you're just telling the compiler like, hey buddy, I want to use something of yours, so just let me. So the statement for that is import. You write import java.io dot and you use a semicolon. Now what the I'm sorry, an asterisk, not a semicolon. Use an asterisk. The asterisk means that everything in that package you're you're just telling Java, hey Java, I'm just gonna borrow your IO package for a while. I'm just gonna take everything that there is. I'm just gonna take the whole box and I'm gonna use it. So don't worry about the import statement. Then you write your class name, class import. I had already created my class. Then you define your function, public void main. And remember this, while using buffered reader you cannot take any parameter input, at least not in your main function. Then you write throws and you write IO exception, and please um, take careful care to note the case. IO exception, IOE are capital and throws everything is small. Now let me go over these two words, throws and IO exception. Well, in Java, when you have a problem during runtime, it's called an exception. Any error that you have during runtime, it's called an exception. Now there is a class which handles which has the definition of every possible exception that can occur, and that handles it, and it sort of fixes it itself. It's called an exception handler. So what you're telling Java right now is basically you're saying, hey Java, um, if there's any sort of exception, like for example the IO exception which can occur while taking input output, you're just telling it, just throw it away, I don't care, throw it away, let it be. So that's throws, don't worry about it, I'll go over exception handler later. And okay, so this is, yeah, that's pretty much the setup that you need for your class and function. Then while you go into your function, you have to create an object for the buffered reader class. Now there are many ways to do this. You can write input stream reader ISR is equal to new input stream reader bracket system dot in. Then you can write buffered reader BR stands for buffered reader equals new buffered reader ISR semicolon. And if I were to hit compile, it would compile perfectly fine, won't give me any errors. Now let me go over this code. Now what happens in Java is when you type something in the keyboard, that is when it goes to system.in, which then transfers it on to the input stream reader, which reads the input, which transfers it on to buffered reader. Now in very simple terms, what these two lines have done is they've created objects of input stream reader and buffer reader. I had explained objects and classes in the first video, and I'll go over it very briefly again. The syntax for creating an object is class name object name equals new class name. If there are any parameters, put those in. Now object name can be defined by you. Class name is the class of which you want to create an object. So if I wanted to create an object for the input class called input, I would write input equals new input. And I know that sounds very funny, but let's say you wanted to create an object, mm, football, of the class sports. So you would write sports football equals new sports. So that's just how you create objects. So what you're doing here is you're creating an input stream reader object first, then you're telling Java while that you'll call it ISR, and it's equal to new. Now what new does is it just creates a new instance of a class, and an instance of a class is an object, so it creates a new object. And you say input stream reader system.in. Now system.in is what reads from the keyboard. I have discussed that. Now you can make this whole process a little simpler. Instead of writing these two lines, you can do the same thing in one line. I'll show you how. Let's say I cut this whole part off, new input stream reader system.in, and well, I've put that into the parameter for buffer reader, and I remove this. So you've created your buffer reader in one line. Now let me tell you why this happens. The buffer reader was taking an input stream reader as its parameter. All you did is you created the input stream reader, didn't give it a name, and what you did is you created an anonymous class. An anonymous class is one that, well, it does its job and then it ceases to exist. So if I were to say anything like ISR something now, it because ISR doesn't exist, so you can't call it. You can't call it in your class, in your function. I'm sorry. Yeah, so that's how you create a buffer reader object. And I'm sorry if this video is getting long, it's a very important concept. So what you do now is, let's say you want to take input from the user, so you write system.out.println. You have to tell the user what you want. Let's say you tell them enter a number, and you want to take the number as input. So let's say int num. You write int num equals integer dot parse int br dot read line bracket. Now let me go over this line. Now what integer is, it's a wrapper class. It wraps up the integer data type. It's nothing to worry about, just theory. Now parse int is a function in this wrapper class. So there's a function in this wrapper class which takes in something. That something here is br.readline. Now br.readline, you're calling the readline function of your buffered reader object. So to call a function from an object, you write object name dot function name and your brackets. That's how you call a function. And when I do functions, then this whole thing will become really simple for you. So br.readline. Now what br.readline does is it returns a string. Now obviously if you want a number, you're not going to store a string in the integer data type as a number. So this parseInt function takes in a string, parses it or converts it into an int or an integer and stores it here. Let's say you wanted to store a double, it would just become double n equals double dot parse double. Oops, I'm sorry, my keyboard acted up. Yeah, parse double br dot readline. If you wanted to store a string s equals br dot readline, you don't need to parse anything because br dot readline returns a string. So let me just try running this video. We'll take in the number input from the what am I saying, I'm so sorry, running this program, not running this video. um take in the number from the user and print it. So we create an object of our input class, call the void main function. It asks us enter a number. Let's say we type 8734. Press enter. It prints 8734. So you can see our program's working. So I'd like to give you like a program for homework. Accept a person's accept a person's name, address, and phone number, and print it. As simple as that. And I'll go over the solution in the next video. So that's all for this video. Have a good day. Thanks.